Hi.
Hello, Hunties.
No, thank you.
Blood Hunter is a D&D class penned by Matthew Mercer himself, and those that love them find it hard to play with their favorite toy with no new toys to play with. So let's make some more. I'm going to take a look at Blood Hunters and make a brand new concept with them that allows you to use them as baddies, monsters, and even as part of your character's backstory. How? Well, with liches, of course. Welcome to Which Lich? You thought I was done? Think again. Okay, so we're gonna make the Blood Hunter a real baddie. But in order to do that, we gotta understand what makes a Blood Hunter a Blood Hunter. What is their thing? What makes them tick? What is the essence du Blood Hunter?
Essence du Blood Hunter.
Is it the blood? It's probably the blood. Just kidding, it isn't. Or at least, I don't think. Yes, Blood Hunters do blood magic. This script already has the word blood too many times on it. I can feel the YouTube gods getting angry. Anyway, they do hemogoblin magic, or whatever, but they do it to hunt. They are hunters.
Hunty.
Their section on D&D Beyond literally calls them a monster to hunt monsters. And remember that because I'm 100% using that later. Their thing is hunting monsters through any means necessary. And that often means taking in monstrous traits and evil curses to dispatch those baddies. But, hemogoblin magic is a corrupting influence. It is powerful and useful to bring the enemies of the Blood Hunters down and protect the innocent in whatever other Captain America activities they're prone to do. But it can also twist Blood Hunters unrecognizably. This whole embracing dark powers beyond mortal comprehension thing often means Blood Hunters are like a hair's width away from turning into monsters themselves. Animal I Have Become by 3 Days Grace plays right here. Very edgy, very Linkin Park, very darks.
Yo soy darks.
And very cool. Not above edgy. And I think that right there is the true essence of the Blood Hunter. Alright, we got the essence, corruption, embracing dark powers, the threat of turning into the monsters you hunt. We get it. So, in order to make a Blood Hunter evil cake of doom, I cannot get away from food metaphors, I need assistance, send help. We need to mix in some of our own secret ingredient, lichdom. This might seem insane, but hear me out, I really think it isn't. Think about it, isn't lichdom embracing corruption to further your own goals? Isn't lichdom itself born from ungodly powers? They are blood hunters that study death and undeath. The ghost layer is all about that. Liches and blood hunters are actually cousins. So, how do we mix them? I hate when recipes call for a standing mixer. Who under 40 has one of those anyway? No, don't fret, my recipe doesn't. In order for this blood hunter to feel lichy, we need a few ingredients. Lichdom has to be deliberate, otherwise you're just an uppity zombie, so we'll throw that in. Lichdom relies on a ritual, and a pretty hard ritual at that, so your edgiest of players, who, to be fair, are probably already playing Blood Hunter, or Rogue, or Warlock, can strive towards completing said evil ritual to finally realize their goth dreams. So we'll add the ritual to the mix. The whole makes a magical thing that keeps them alive and lets them respawn when dead is a pretty massive part of being a lich. We need a soul Tupperware to throw our soul in, so just add the whole Tupperware into the batter, who cares? And finally, lichdom is not only passive. Liches in 5e actively work towards undeath, and that's what makes them interesting. If a lich could become a lich and retire forever to their vacation tower, it would be very, very boring. So let's add a sprinkle of that for flavor, and presto, we have our cake. Ah, perfect. One of my finest creations. We have our essences, we have our lich mix, we have our cake. It's so delicious and moist. Let's make a Blood Hunter lich. The key to this is dice, of course. It's D&D, you need those basically for everything. Okay, how about these ones for the blood maledict thingy? Wait.
Is this play about us?
That's me. That's right. I have my own dice set with Dispel Dice. Somehow. Say hello to the Arcane Constellation Dice Set. I cared about this so much. I made mood boards, guys. Mood boards. And it works because look at them. These are hard-edged dice inspired by, sorry for being annoying, but I care so much about this, the marriage between arcane circles and astral maps. I love them so much. I literally cannot believe my first dice set looks like this and is made by honestly, the best word here is artists over at Dispel Dice. And guess what? You can pre-order them right now in the first link in the description. But if you're going to Gencon, they're there early. You can go grab them at their booth right now. Well, when the con opens. It's literally the only way to do that. And I'll be there hanging out so we can meet and like try to eat my dice set together or something. Here's my schedule. No worries. I will also post it in my channel's community notes so you can grab it easy. Not going to Gencon? As I said, no problem. They are available right now for you to pre-order. It's also the best time to do this because you'll get them ASAP. It's literally the first link in the description. Can't miss it. So yeah, the Dispel Dice booth on Friday. But watch this.
If you love D&D, you cannot miss this live show at Gen Con. Just check out my players. It'll be streamed too, but the best part is, you get to influence the game.
That's the live game I'll be at on Thursday, and most of the tickets are gone. Also, Miss Carrazzo. Yes, our secret guest is revealed. I have no clue what I'm doing next to these people. Me, just, I guess I'm there, and I'm really scared, so if y'all have like 2 hours free, please come support your boy. The game will be streamed if you're not at Gen Con, but I don't think you can watch it later, so if you do want to catch it, show up to the stream. I'll put a link down there too. Spam Pointy Hat bullshit in chat. I think it would be funny if the organizers see that. Okay, hope you like the Arcane Dice set enough to grab it, and now that we have our dice, we can go back to making that Blood Hunter Lich. Okay, so I've talked about this before. There are things in D&D, and like in life in general, I guess, for which we have no answers. What happens when you break your warlock pact? What happens if you stop worshipping your cleric god? How did you become a lich exactly? Where was Karlach's story actually going in Baldur's Gate 3? If your mom's sister divorces her husband, is that guy like still your uncle? Can you call him for like an internship or something? Why haven't zebras been domesticated? Horses were, donkeys were, llamas were, camels were. Hell, we ride cows in parts of the world. Why not them, you know? Why not zebras? It's crazy because they're shaped like a horse, so you would assume. Okay, you get it. These questions are not answered, not because Mr. Dungeon and Mr. Dragons can't come up with an answer. It's because they are left intentionally vague so you or your DM can come up with an answer that suits your campaign. Since we're tangentially talking about Critical Role, because this is a Matthew Mercer creation, I'll use an example from them. In Campaign 2, Ford, the Hard Orc Warlock, wait, who said that? Must have been the wind. Anyway, spoilers, I guess. If you're gonna watch Campaign 2, skip to here. Ford at one point became a warlock that broke his pact. In CR, breaking a warlock pact kinda meant that Ford didn't have a class, and for some sessions, he was literally classless. And honestly, it was really cool. But in your game, that can look completely different. Maybe something does happen, like in CR. Maybe nothing does. Maybe you change subclasses? It's up to you. One of these unanswered questions, actually, is about Blood Hunters. What are Blood Hunters afraid of, exactly? There's mention after mention of how Blood Hunters have to be careful about microdosing blood magic, lest they turn into what they fear most. What happens if they fail at that? It's always referred to as a monster, but that's a catch-all term if I've ever seen one. There's like a whole manual of them. So what if we use that to our advantage? I'm not the official source. Whatever I say here is not canon, not even Blood Hunter canon. I made a whole Blood Hunter subclass in my Blood Hunter video, and that's also not canon. I am free to do as I please. No rules constrain me. I am not a hat. I am a god. Anyway, what exactly happens if a Blood Hunter gets too into blood magic? Too into letting those cursed, evil, no-good forces that they use to hunt monsters and help old ladies cross the street? Well, we said that lichdom is not accidental. So what if there is a way to harness that transformation into a monster? What if an evil Blood Hunter, or just one that wants to live forever, can get right up to that line and then cross it in such a way that benefits them? What if we finally answer that question? What if the answer is our Blood Hunter Lich? Blood Hunter orders fear corruption more than any of the monstrosities they hunt. And that is for good reason. Letting the curse of blood overtake a hunter will turn that hunter monstrous, a ravaging behemoth that joins the ranks of the evils that particular Blood Hunter's order was set to vanish from this world. The Blood Hunter Order of the Martyr was created with the express purpose of hunting these monsters and keep other orders in check so that more are not created. The Venator, however, is the most twisted version of this cursed transformation, because a Blood Hunter that turns into a Venator is one that deliberately seeks out the power that comes from surrendering oneself to the turning. Each order has a different path to follow if one of their members wants to turn into a Venator. Ghost Slayers must turn towards the spirits of previous leaders of Ghost Slaying orders and vanquish them to gain their powers. Lycans have to find the true source of lycanthropy, the first werewolf. Mutants must concoct a mutagen so powerful that it erases the distinction between a body that is alive and one that is dead. And the profane soul will find their path to lichdom in a twisted version of the arcane weave. Each of these is a dark mirror to an already dark ritual, the ritual that makes a person into a Blood Hunter, the Hunter's Bane. A Venator-to-be must take a twisted version of the Bane they took when they joined their order, symbolizing their transformation into something greater than a Blood Hunter, but also lesser. Once completed, the Blood Hunter is no more, and a Venator rises in their place. But immortality through lichdom is as much a curse as blood magic is. The Venator is less of an immortal and more of someone enduring an extremely slow and painful death. The curse of blood magic grants the Venator powerful abilities, but it's always a curse. The source of their immortality is itself what will in time kill a Venator, a slow-acting poison that they need to purge. To continue their own life, a Venator must hunt as it did in life. Not monsters, but rather what was once their own kind. In order to create receptacles for their soul and cleanse themselves of the rot of blood magic, a Venator must find other blood hunters. Once they find one, they corrupt that hunter with the curse that courses through the Venator's dead veins, freeing the Venator of part of their curse and granting them more of their own life, like drawing out a poison and injecting it directly into another person. Those that receive this cursed gift are transformed into what blood hunters fear most, monsters fueled by cursed blood that act as the safeguard to the Venator's unlife. The soul jar of a Venator is, fittingly, a monster that used to be a monster hunter. Instead of hiding the pieces of their souls in dusty temples or wizard towers, Venators let their soul jars roam free. These soul jars do not hide, but rather they grow and become more and more powerful until they are too hard to take down. And so the Venator becomes a perfectly twisted mirror of who they were in life, one that creates more monsters rather than bring them down, constantly staving off the rot inside of them by injecting it into others, forcing them to become what their order set out to defeat. I think that's dark enough for a Blood Hunter Lich. Think about it, a monster as a soul jar, a Blood Hunter turned into a monster, but one that has control over their actions, not just a mindless beast. It answers the question of what happens to Blood Hunters that get a little bit too into the curse thing, but also branches out and builds upon it, answering the question of what happens if they do that on purpose. And I get to incorporate my little Order of the Martyr subclass thingy that I did for the Blood Hunter video. That's fun. But as I always say, a monster is not a great monster unless it gives you, players, the chance to use it when making your little lore bows. So what does a character all based around the Venator look like? What's their lore? What's their tragic backstory? Let's see what we can cook. The order that Alonso belongs to. Wait. 1 second. I want to salute the people that have started the TV tropes page for Pointy Hat of their own free will. You guys are awesome. I literally couldn't believe it when I saw it. It's my favorite piece of fan content around this channel, and I pay your dedication by putting really hard to spell Spanish names on all of my characters. His name is Alonso. Y'all are amazing, and I'm sorry I'm like this. I just had to shout you out. Also, the dog familiar's name is Igor, not Igor. That one is in English. Love y'all. Here are some of the names on screen of people that I see editing that thing constantly. Y'all are the real ones. Okay, back to the video. The order that Alonso belongs to has been on the brink of collapse since before Alonso ever took the Hunter's Bane ritual. The Loveday's Children of Everlasting Rest were formed when an uppity knight with delusions of grandeur saw it as an opportunity to further his own political goals, and the order was promptly abandoned by him when he realized just what a bad reputation blood hunters actually have. Ever since, the order has been thanklessly maintained by its common members, but still carries the knight's name and coat of arms to add salt to the wound. They specialize in hunting the undead, and it's believed that the place where the kingdom sits was once witness to an incredibly powerful necromantic spell that has left a scar that makes the dead rise more there than anywhere else in the world. The lack of backing of the order from the crown, the constant trickle of more undead enemies, and the disdain and mistrust of the populace towards the order have made it virtually impossible for the hunters to keep up with the threat of the undead. The Loveday's Children of Everlasting Rest order is dying, and Alonso plans to die in its place and rise again to defend it. Orphaned by a wraith, Alonso had no other path left for him than to join the hunters, and knows firsthand what the threat of the undead can bring. He plans on visiting each of the graves of the first members of the order, including that of Loveday, the knight that first created it, and challenging them. He'll be ready to turn into a Venator and use his newfound powers as a lich to defeat the undead threat and cleanse the kingdom of their stain, and he's traveling with a party of adventurers to accomplish it. But will his party let him turn himself into a monster? Will his order banish him once they find out what his plan is, since they hunt undead? Will he be able to defeat the creators of an entire order of blood hunters? And will Alonso's willpower be enough to carry out his selfless mission once the curse of blood magic takes over him? I don't know, man. I just made this guy up. But I guess you will know if you play him, or use him as inspo, or add him as an NPC. I told you this video was about adding more blood hunties to your games. This is a great way to do it, I think. And speaking of, what about a full campaign based on the Venator? That would certainly add more of them. I'm thinking Breath of the Wild, but make it, you know... yeah, like that. The Four Fiends. I like Final Fantasy a normal amount, leave me alone. The Four Fiends have terrorized the four corners of the frontier for all of recorded history. They're called fiends, but whether they actually are of fiendish nature remains a mystery even to those that study them. They patrol their territory, destroying anything that dares come close. 4 blood hunter orders have been established for each of these fiends, and these hunters struggle to keep these behemoths at bay every day. only a select few hunters know the truth, that they are more connected to the four fiends than anyone would imagine it possible, because the four fiends that terrorize the frontier were once blood hunters, corrupted and made into monstrous soul jars by what has passed down into history as a terrible plague, but is actually a lich. The Venator in question still refuses to die. It's four impossibly powerful soul jars keeping it tethered to the world of the living. The Venator takes its tithe of new hunters through its fiends to stave off its death, and keeps the frontier separated from the rest of the world to ensure that nothing can harm its monstrous soul jars. The party in this campaign learns the truth of the frontier and the fiends that keep the country prisoner, and also learn of a way to bring down these fiends. They must find a way to contact the spirits of the original hunters that were turned into the fiends, learn their story and their connection to the Venator, and find a way to exorcise them so that the fiend is rendered weak enough to be fought and destroyed. Okay, I would love to play that. Spooky, scary Breath of the Wild, communing with hunters of old to learn what happened millennia ago, bringing down a lich that has literally affected how an entire country is set up because they're so old. What possible connection could these monsters have to the lich? Did some of them do this willingly, unwillingly, unwittingly? More words that start with un? I literally don't know. I haven't gone further than that. And I guess neither will you, because the Venator is not a real thing. I just made it up with my little hat brain for this video. Oh, who am I kidding? You know by now. Of course it's real and free, 100% certified Pointy Hat free, and in the description of this video for you to grab, touch, feel, taste. Freak. But speaking of taste, the link to my dice set is also right there if you want to snack on those. I did not take a sponsor for this video. I wanted to give y'all the best video, not with like 1,000 ads, and not divert attention to this thing that I've been working on along with the Dispel team for ages. So I really hope you like them. And if you do, please consider grabbing them. I think they look amazing. Did you really think that Witch Lich was over? Fooled you. Anyway, it's over now. What was that? James? Anyway, what is this martyr thing I keep referencing? Well, that's my Blood Hunter subclass, the one I did for my video on Blood Hunters. I'm pretty happy with it. It's an off-tank, pretty weird. And if you like spooky stuff but not Blood Hunters, consider my latest video on one-shots. It teaches you how to make one, and it has a whole charity one-shot included. 100% of the proceeds go to charity. Okay, that's enough. I hope you like the Arcane Constellation Dice Set. Link below, or come grab it at Gencon and say hi to me. Don't forget your blood work. Mwah!